Hey guys, welcome to a new video. Like, comment and subscribe if you enjoy. Without any further interruptions, enjoy the what if. Chapter 13. First Date. Naruto woke up and turned off his blaring alarm clock. Feeling refreshed after a good night's sleep, he got up and took off his pajamas, putting on a black shirt and orange pants. After brushing his teeth and eating his breakfast, Naruto took out his cleaning materials. Since he had one day left of relaxation, he would take advantage of that and make sure that his apartment was clean from top to bottom. Before he got started, he put all of his dirty clothing in a bag and had a shadow clone take them to the laundromat. Once the clone left, Naruto began to clean his apartment in earnest. He worked really hard, and after he finished cleaning his entire house, he put away his cleaning materials and wiped the sweat from his brow. Looking out the window, Naruto saw the position of the sun and sighed. He had spent most of the day cleaning his house, and while it was as clean as it could be, Naruto knew that he only had around 3, maybe 4 hours before his date with Ino. Stretching out the kinks in his back, Naruto went to go and take a deep shower before leaving his house, deciding to take a walk in order to get rid of the butterflies fluttering in his stomach. Locking the door behind him, Naruto began to take a leisurely pace as he walked through the red light district. Noticing that most of the places were getting ready for business, Naruto continued to walk and returned the affectionate greetings of the women hanging around. Naruto knew that everything had its place in life, and even something like prostitution, or the gentleman's escort, as it was called, had its value. And he knew what it was like to be ostracized and shunned. It was something that he would never do to another person. Then he stopped. Wait a minute. At least one of these women should know what a guy should do on a date, shouldn't they? Naruto went up to one of the women and poked her arm. When she turned around, the butterflies in Naruto's stomach began to rustle even more. She had silky, dark brown hair that flowed down to the small of her back, and she was wearing a purple kimono that cut off around the middle of her thighs, leaving the rest of her creamy skin bare. The kimono was slightly open, exposing the woman's supple cleavage. Naruto blinked and stared at the woman's dark blue eyes that were lined with mascara. The woman gave Naruto a dazzling smile. "And what I can help you with, young man?" Naruto gulped, before steeling his resolve. "If you were on a date with some guy, what would you want him to do for you?" "That's a good question," the woman drawled. She offered Naruto her hand. "Why don't you come inside? That way, I can have your undivided attention when I give you what you need." "Okay." Taking the woman's smooth, soft hand, he entered a building with tables and chairs spread out the room and entrances to different rooms, along with a small platform in the center of the room. The woman led him into her quarters, a dimly lit room with a table made of solid oak with a reclining chair tucked within. A single picture frame stood on the table, and in front of the table was a single wooden chair. "Please, sit down and relax," the woman said in that same seductive voice. Once Naruto did as she asked, she sat down on her own chair. Laying her chin on her steepled fingers, she made eye contact with Naruto. "Now, you were talking about what I would do if you took me on a date, right?" "Not me," Naruto said. "If you were on a date, what would you want your date to do for you?" The woman chuckled. "First things first, what do you know about dating?" She paused for a moment. "Naruto's your name, right?" Naruto nodded. "You can call me Masane. All I know is to dress up nice and take my date to a restaurant, or something," Naruto said. "Not much else." Masane pursed her red lips. "That sort of thing is all you really need for a first date. But the extra things count. What you wear, how you present yourself and how you treat your date are all important if you want your girl to go out with you again. Body language also counts. If you fidget, you look like you're getting impatient. If you have a distant stare, you look like you're getting bored, and if you don't look like you're listening to her, your girl might think that you're rude." Naruto nodded. He tried to hide his nervousness, however, since Masane was making his stomach churn with just a single look. "But what about giving my date a gift? Like flowers or something?" "It depends on the girl." Masane crossed one of her long legs over the other. "I would appreciate a gift, but what I would appreciate more is the man's company. If the man is genuine, I would know what I would be getting myself into by the end of my date. If he isn't, then I risk setting myself up for disappointment. And I value time like I value my body, Very, very much. Masane's tone had become unsettling towards the end. In response, Naruto took in a deep breath, letting his ninja training come into effect. So be genuine and be interested in the girl, right? Masane nodded. That's right. And don't bother lying. Call it woman's intuition, but I can tell if a man is really interested in what I'm saying, or if he's just waiting for the right moment to have his way with me. If you aren't interested in what your girl's saying, do me a favor. Be honest. It'll save you and your girl any heartache if you lie. Naruto stood up. I think that I know what to do now. Thanks, Masane. It's my pleasure, Naruto. Before you go, I want to tell you a secret. Naruto leaned in and felt sweat trickle down his back as Masane put her mouth next to his ear. If things don't work out with your girl, come back to me and I'll make you feel like a million Ryo. Naruto pulled back abruptly as he tried to suppress his blush. What? Masane returned to her chair. Don't worry about it. Although, you are a bit too young for my tastes, she muttered. Her dark eyes that previously glinted with detached amusement became sharp with focus. One more thing. Everyone has ulterior motives when doing something, and this world of ours isn't always black and white. I don't know if this applies to your girl, but make sure she's interested in you, and only you. If she isn't, Masane sighed. I have to get ready to open up my establishment. Good luck with your date. Okay then. Thanks again for your help, Masane, Naruto replied. She gave him an alluring smile, one that Naruto kept in mind as he left Masane's room. Even if Masane was a civilian, judging by her chakra reserves, Naruto hadn't expected to feel so intimidated. Maybe it was because she was able to manipulate people's emotions well, or maybe it was something else entirely. At least now he knew what people felt like if he used the sexy jutsu on them. Naruto shook his head. He had a date to prepare for. Naruto took time to make sure that he took another shower to clean up all of the grit and grime that he didn't get rid of while cleaning his house. He brushed his teeth, made sure that he didn't smell, made sure that his hair was presentable and put on clean underwear before looking at the clothing he was going to wear. It was a black kimono that had orange swirls on it. He remembered when the Hokage had bought it for him, and how happy it had made him. And now he could finally wear it. Once he slipped on the comfortable kimono, he put on the Geta sandals that came with the outfit and departed from his apartment once more, but this time, he was going to Ino's house instead of walking aimlessly like before. After walking for a while under the darkening sky, Naruto reached his destination, the Yamanaka clan compound. Shaking the gate, Naruto waited until a man with blonde hair tied up in a long spiky ponytail came to the entrance. He was wearing a black shirt with the Yamanaka clan emblem emblazoned on its breast and gray pants, and he had a tanto strapped to his side, which caught Naruto's attention. Come in, the man said. Naruto nodded and followed him inside the compound. He led Naruto into his house, and once they were in his living room, he had him sit down. It was full of all kinds of flowers. My name is Inoichi, the man said as he made eye contact with Naruto. I'm Ino's father. It's nice to meet you, Naruto said as formally as he could. Inoichi nodded. Shikaku always speaks fondly of you. Naruto smiled at this, but he felt Inoichi's stare become colder. That being said, I'm not pleased with you taking out my daughter for a date. Why? Naruto asked. Inoichi pointed at Naruto's stomach. It's what's inside of you. I know how the human mind works, and I know that the village has suffered greatly due to the nine-tailed fox's attack all those years ago. They place all of their hatred and resentment on you, because you are the demon fox's container. Naruto frowned. I know. What's your point? How would this village treat Ino if you continued to date her? Inoichi asked. My daughter doesn't deserve to be hated because of who she chooses to associate with. Don't blame me for what the nine-tailed fox did. Naruto growled. You think that I wanted this? No, you didn't. I have a lot of respect for how you've conducted yourself, but I can't trust the villagers to keep their hatred of you from affecting my daughter. Be that as it may, Ino is a kunoichi of our village, and I can't keep her away from you. Even if I do, she'll still be drawn towards you. What's the point of telling me all of this? Ino asked me to go on a date with her. He stood up. You know what? Don't worry, Mr. Yamanaka. He was barely able to keep the anger out of his voice, or maintain any form of respect to the man who dismissed him over something he had no control over. I'm not going to force Ino to go on any more dates, not unless she wants to. Naruto didn't see Inoichi's expression change when he said that, but it didn't matter. I'll wait outside. Tell Ino that I'll be waiting for her there. I hope we never meet again. Okay, Inoichi said. I'm sorry it has to be this way, but... Sorry, Mr. Yamanaka, but it doesn't matter. Naruto walked out of Inoichi's house and out of the Yamanaka compound. Once he was outside, he tried desperately to temper his anger. Even if he used Ino's safety as an excuse, he still dismissed him like everyone else did. Naruto inhaled deeply. All he had to do was enjoy the date. Good evening, Naruto, Ino said, almost startling him. She was wearing a purple dress that went down to the middle of her calves and a silver necklace that complemented her earrings. She tied up her hair with a glittering band, but left it in her signature ponytail. She gave him a warm smile. Are you ready to go? Naruto nodded, giving Ino a smile. Sure. Taking Ino's outstretched hand in his, Naruto left the Yamanaka compound behind. The walk under the starlit sky was quiet as Naruto and Ino walked in a comfortable, yet tense silence. Naruto was still angry from earlier, although he had been able to temper it to something manageable. Ino was in shock of how well Naruto cleaned up, and told him as much. So, how's your team, Naruto? Ino asked. They're fine. I don't really know what they've been doing, though. Other than yesterday, I hadn't seen them since last week. Ino nodded. And what have you been doing? Trying to become a better chakra sensor. You're a chakra sensor? Ino asked. Naruto nodded. That's pretty cool. The only person I know who can do that is my dad. Naruto tensed slightly, but Ino didn't appear to notice. And yours? How's your team doing? He knew about what they were doing through Shikamaru, but he wanted to hear it from a different perspective. It'd also keep her from noticing the whispers coming from some nosy villagers. If she wasn't ignoring them altogether. We've been training a lot. Shikamaru was the one who suggested it, and if that lazy bum wanted to do extra work, then he must have been serious. So now we're all stronger because of it. Any cool missions? Naruto asked. The C rank we did last week could count, I guess. We had to get this letter from a bandit camp. Shikamaru knocked some of the guys out with his shadow possession jutsu. I created a distraction with my mind transfer jutsu. Asuma-sensei grabbed the letter and Choji was our guard. Must have been fun. Naruto looked up and stopped. Here we are. Ino frowned. Ichiraku ramen. Seriously. Best ramen in the village, Naruto said. He led Ino inside and once she took her seat, Naruto sat on the stool next to her. Can I get a bowl of miso ramen, please? Naruto asked. One miso coming up, Chuki said. And what can I get your girlfriend? Ino's cheeks tinted pink, but Naruto scowled. She isn't my girlfriend. Just get her whatever she wants. When the words left Naruto's mouth, he immediately regretted it. Ino quietly gave her order to Ayame, who began to prepare the bowl as quickly as she could. An awkward silence fell over the ramen stand as Chuki and Ayame prepared Naruto and Ino's orders respectively. Even Naruto thought that the silence had become insufferable, and he felt like trash. Chuki and Ayame had done nothing to him, and they were always good to him, but he lashed out at Chuki for no real reason. But a more cynical part of him wondered if they were like that just so they could get more money from him. How's your clan training going, Ino? Naruto asked. Ino nearly jumped out of her seat from shock. Oh, it's going good. I'm getting close to mastering the first level of our clan's jutsu. Good to hear it. When he got his ramen, he began to eat at a sedate pace, remembering the etiquette lessons he learned when he was younger. Ino ate at a similar pace after receiving her ramen from Ayame, who was anything but cheerful. After finishing his ramen, Naruto pushed the bowl to the side. Still hungry? Naruto asked as politely as he could. Not really, Ino said. Her bowl was clean. Naruto nodded and put his money on the counter, before getting off his stool. Neither am I. He turned to Chuki and Ayame and gave them a small, apologetic smile before he left. The atmosphere in what was supposed to be his favorite place in the village was simply too unpleasant to bear. Ino was becoming restless as she walked with Naruto back to her house. She never expected Naruto to be so quiet, and judging from what happened the day before, he didn't look like he changed all that much. She wanted to learn more about him and his team. She especially wanted to learn more about Sasuke. And she expected for Naruto to boast about his team, but he hadn't so far. Still, she had enjoyed the date so far, awkwardness at Ichiraku Ramen aside. As for Naruto, he had walked with her across the village, with no real destination in mind. After he left Ichiraku Ramen, he'd been able to enjoy himself. Ino was pleasant and lively, and she looked good, too. "What missions have you guys done so far?" Ino asked. Naruto looked at Ino curiously. "Nothing much, just some D ranks. We got a C rank mission a couple of weeks ago." "What happened?" "We had to escort this bridge builder to the Land of Waves," Naruto said. He didn't tell Ino that the mission escalated to S rank, but he told her what happened in their fights between Chojuro and Ao. While he knew that he did a lot, he didn't fail to notice the gleam in Ino's eyes whenever he mentioned Sasuke. "Wow, Sasuke's so cool," Ino gushed. "Blasting a fireball jutsu while he's in midair is so amazing. Everyone has an ulterior motive." Masane's words reverberated in Naruto's mind. "If Sasuke's so cool, then why didn't you ask him on a date?" Naruto asked. He knew that mentioning Sasuke would be a mistake, but he thought that Ino's feelings for his teammate had diminished, given that she hadn't seen him for over 2 months. If anything, it looked like Ino had an even deeper crush on Sasuke. "You know how he is," Ino said. "So that's it." Naruto felt his mood return to how it was before the date began. "You just wanted to learn about your precious Sasuke, right? I don't know what you see in that guy. He'll never give you what you're looking for." Ino glared at him. "What would you know about Sasuke? You don't know what he's been going through. I can't imagine losing my mom or dad, but Sasuke lost his entire clan in one night." "You're right, Ino. I don't know what it's like to lose my family. That's because I never had one. But what would you know about anything?" "I know a lot," Ino said, scowling. "I know that you're jealous of Sasuke. You can't be as good as he is, so you try to make him look like a fool. You try to make him look like you, a joke. So, even if I'm jealous of Sasuke, it still doesn't have anything to do with how he'll treat you." They were at the entrance to Ino's place. "He'll just throw you out like expired milk, and he'll never let you get close to him. And you know why? It's 'cause you'll never understand his pain." Ino scoffed. "Please, like you can tell me what Sasuke will and won't do." She jabbed a finger in his face, shaking in her heels. "You know what? I thought you were pretty interesting, and I thought I'd have a good time on this date, but I was wrong. You're nothing but a jealous, petty, depressing jerk. Don't bother asking me out anymore, because I never want to see your face ever again." Naruto's eyes flashed red as he felt a wave of rage wash over him. His hands tightened into fists and his canines grew sharper. But it wasn't worth a fight. "Fine, I don't care." Ino paused for a bit before turning on the ball of her foot, a pained look on her face. She stormed inside her house while Naruto just sighed and tried to get his temper under control. He was just about to do something he would permanently regret, but he was glad that he didn't. Naruto should have known that he was setting himself up for failure when Ino asked him out from basically out of nowhere. And even if Ino liked him enough to continue dating him, her father would make sure that she rejected him, just like everyone else did. Time and time again, he wondered why the village hated him. At first, he didn't do anything to justify their hatred, he just existed. But they still glared at him, and still whispered about him, if they didn't just ignore him like he was nobody's business. Then he turned to pranks in order to make them notice him, and to make people see that he was more than just a pest or a nuisance. And that didn't work like he wanted it to. If anything, the villagers hated him even more. Then he found out why they hated him. It was because he was the nine-tailed fox's jailer. He never wanted to be burdened with such a terrible fate, but he would make sure that it didn't keep him from fulfilling his dreams. He wanted to be Hokage so that people would acknowledge him, but what did it really mean to be Hokage? Even if he did become Hokage, he would still be trapped in the shadow of the demon fox. And he wasn't looking forward to being the leader of a village that hated him for something that he didn't have any control over. Tears began to form on the edges of Naruto's eyes, but he stopped himself from crying. He had enough of crying, and he promised himself that he would never cry about his situation again. He looked up and noticed that he was on the street leading to his apartment. Masane was right, Naruto thought. The red light district was one of the few places where Naruto wasn't ostracized or oppressed, but unlike before, he was left alone as he walked down the street. Although, he could hear melodic singing coming from the building Masane worked in. She promised to make him feel like $1,000,000 if his date didn't work out, but she was probably just being nice. There was no way she'd ever be interested in him. Ignoring the temptation to find out, Naruto continued to walk, eventually getting to his apartment. He made his entrance and folded his kimono, putting it deep inside his closet. After kicking off his sandals, he put on his pajamas and dropped onto his bed with a thud. Looking at his ceiling, he focused on finding his center, letting his emotions roll over and dissipate. This was just a temporary setback, but he would overcome the village's hatred one day. He wouldn't stop until the village didn't see for what he contained, but for what he truly was. The next day, Naruto was in his training clearing after finishing a D-rank mission with Team 7. He had managed to keep his team from asking about what happened between him and Ino by being detached and irritatingly polite. It worked for Sakura, who said that she could get the info from Ino if she wanted to, and Sasuke probably didn't care either way. Kakashi had been a bit more difficult to deter, but he told him that he needed some space, and Kakashi had no choice but to accept. At any rate, Naruto made sure to stretch before beginning to do his training exercises. Kakashi had given him some pointers to fix his taijutsu flaws, and he needed them. He still needed to maximize the effectiveness of his fighting style, and fast. He could feel the results of this training coming into effect as his punches became faster and his kicks became more devastating. After summoning a batch of clones, Naruto began to fight them, using his sensor, reflexes and instinct to dodge and react to his clone's attacks. When he defeated his last clone, he began to chuckle. His chuckling grew into a full-blown laugh, one that wasn't joyful, but bitter and filled with frustration. "Looks like someone's date went well," Kurenai said after appearing in the training clearing. Naruto saw the smile on her face, but he continued to laugh at her. Why did she even care about him in the first place? Didn't she have friends of her own? "What's so funny, Naruto?" Kurenai asked in irritation. Naruto slowly stopped laughing, and when he settled down, he sat on the grass, cross-legged. "Nothing. Just felt like laughing." Kurenai frowned. "Can you tell me why? I just want to know if you're alright." "I'm okay," Naruto said. "Can we train now, please?" "Alright," Kurenai said. "I'll get your taijutsu up to speed first." She raised her forearms level to her biceps and placed them next to her shoulders. "First, I want you to punch my hand as hard as possible." Naruto nodded and thought of all of the negative things that happened the day before. When he opened his eyes, they were blood red and he launched his fist at Kurenai's hand. "NNHH," Kurenai grunted, focusing chakra to her hand. "That wasn't bad, Naruto. But you didn't punch properly. Do it again, but this time, focus on your posture." Naruto nodded and gave Kurenai his most powerful punch, but with proper posture this time. "That was better, but now your punch is much weaker." "Sorry." "Okay," Naruto snapped. "It's not my fault I suck at taijutsu." Kurenai smiled. "Don't worry about it, Naruto. In due time, you'll come around. Now, let's get started." The day's training had helped Naruto come closer to becoming good at taijutsu. Kurenai helped him improve his posture, positioning, timing and power, fixing each of his flaws or at least setting the foundation he'd need to improve. He had also caught Kurenai sending worried glances his way or making sure to be extra careful whenever she thought he wasn't looking. It helped him to put what he was doing in perspective as he walked with his sensei. His anger at Ino, her father and the village was hurting Tsuki, Ayame, Kakashi and Kurenai, the people he cared about. And it filled him with regret. Eventually, Naruto and Kurenai reached the edge of the training grounds. "Looks like this is where we part ways." Kurenai was frowning and her eyes weren't bright. "I hope you get better, Naruto." "Can I walk you home, Kurenai-sensei?" Naruto asked, not wanting to part ways just yet. Kurenai looked at Naruto in surprise, but she nodded in approval, returning Naruto's smile. They walked together in silence, and Kurenai's worries that their secret training would be found out was all for naught, since no one saw them walk together. It was pretty strange in Naruto's mind, but it was something he wasn't going to take for granted. Naruto stopped at the entrance to her apartment complex. "Thanks for letting me walk home with you, Kurenai-sensei." In spite of himself, he kept on looking at Kurenai's apartment. "Want to come in for some tea?" Kurenai asked. He nodded, almost smiling. Ever since meeting her, he'd always wanted to come inside. He followed Kurenai into her apartment complex and walked up to her apartment, which was on the 5th floor. After entering the apartment, Naruto and Kurenai took off their sandals, and Kurenai led Naruto into her living room, which had a well-worn red sofa, a brown loveseat and a dark brown coffee table. There was a nice view of the village outside her window, and she had a few plants placed on the windowsill. Naruto sat on the sofa and waited for Kurenai to return from the kitchen. When she did, she had 2 cups of tea. Giving Naruto 1 cup, she sat on the opposite side of the sofa. Naruto took a sip of the tea and smiled. "It's delicious." "Glad you think so," Kurenai said, smiling. "I don't really make tea that much, but I'm rambling. I appreciate the compliment." After he finished his tea, Naruto set the cup down and stared at Kurenai. "You wanted to know about my date, right?" Kurenai nodded. "How was it?" "Terrible," Naruto said. "Probably the worst first date in history." "It can't have been." Naruto nodded. "It was." Then he began to recap everything that happened before and during the date. How he prepared for the date, how he was hoping that the date would go well even if he didn't have any romantic feelings for Ino, how Inoichi didn't bother to give him a chance out of fear, how the date was decent until Ino asked him about his team, and how they had a fierce argument that led to Ino not wanting to see him ever again. When he finished, it took Kurenai a few seconds to gather her thoughts. "I know that it must be hard for you to have to deal with such behavior, but Ino didn't know about how you were feeling. You never told her how you felt or what her father told you, so she can't be entirely blamed for her ignorance." Naruto scowled. "Don't give me that crap. I hope you don't think you can use such language in front of me," Kurenai said. He quailed from Kurenai's tongue lashing. "Sorry, Kurenai-sensei." His frown returned. "But it isn't right. This village treats me like I'm the 9-tailed fox for no reason, so why can't I treat them like they treat me?" "Because you're better than that. Do you want to give them a reason to hate you?" "No," Naruto said. "They already do." "Exactly. Don't let their shameful behavior get to you just because they can't understand the responsibility you've been given. If they knew what you were doing, then they'd never hate you. You're the main reason why the 9-tailed fox hasn't returned, and that's something nobody can ever take away from you." Just by keeping the 9-tailed fox in its seal, he was protecting the village. "I never thought about it like that. You see, you might not think it's much, but you're doing a lot just by being you." He frowned. "But why me? I didn't ask for this, and even if I'm protecting the village, I don't want to be stuck in the shadow of that damn fox anymore. I want people to accept me for who I am." She moved next to him and took her hand in his, giving it a gentle squeeze. "I accept you. You're my student and my friend, and I'm so lucky to know someone as unique as you. And I think that Shikamaru and Takeshi and all of your other friends feel the same way." Naruto shivered slightly after Kurenai rubbed her thumb over his knuckles, as an outpouring of affection welled up from deep within his heart. "Thanks. It really means a lot." Kurenai smiled and gave Naruto a hug. "You're welcome." His head rested in the crook of her shoulder. "I just wish that they could see me for who I am. I'm trying really hard to prove them wrong, and I don't want to fail, but I don't know what to do." "You're already on the right path," Kurenai said. "You've made a lot of progress as a ninja, and you're becoming a better person with every passing day. Nobody should ever go what you've gone through, but I know that one day, this whole village will see how amazing and special you are. I promise you." Naruto felt tears well up at the corners of his eyes, but he wouldn't cry, not in front of Kurenai. He didn't want her face or neck to get wet. "Thanks, Kurenai-sensei." She leaned back and stared at Naruto's shining blue eyes. "It's my pleasure. And don't worry about your date. I think that you'll find a wonderful woman someday, one that will love you genuinely and unconditionally." "I hope so." Naruto still had an intense loathing for the villagers in the Hidden Leaf, but Kurenai was rooting for him, and she'd shown him a way to keep the village's hate from defining him. He stood up and looked at the window, realizing that he had been in Kurenai's apartment for a long time. I'm gonna go home now. I'll see you tomorrow. Kurenai stood up as well. Alright, then. Once she led him to the apartment's entrance, she set her hands on his shoulders. You're always welcome here, Naruto. Do you understand that? Always. Naruto nodded. Then I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Naruto gave Kurenai a grateful smile. Thanks again, Kurenai-sensei. Naruto ran home and thought about Kurenai, and a realization that he had come to. For the time being, he wouldn't try to pursue any romantic relationships. The girls that were his age either didn't appeal to him or had families that would prevent him from trying to even have a relationship with them. And he realized that they didn't really offer him anything that an older girl or woman didn't offer already. Women like Kurenai or even Misane knew about the world and had a mesmerizing beauty that appealed to him, one that was far more attractive than what someone like Sakura or Ino or Hinata could offer. And in addition, most, if not all of the women from the Leaf Village knew about him being a Jinchuriki, and the ones who liked him and associated with him didn't hold that fact against him. Either way, things like love and romance didn't matter at the moment. He had friends that cared about him, and he was steadily becoming stronger. Even if the village hated him, it was something that he would have to deal with, no matter how hard it would be. And he would make sure that nothing kept him from reaching his goal of becoming a master of Genjutsu. Chapter 14. The Next Level. 2 weeks had passed since Naruto's failed date with Ino and he had recovered, for the most part. Team 7 managed to finish the 10D rank missions with little fuss, while Kakashi stepped up their training. He focused more on staging scenarios that were designed to challenge Team 7's teamwork, creativity and chakra control rather than teaching his team ninjutsu. As he approached the bridge, Naruto focused his sensor on his teammates, who were busy with an exercise of some sort. He felt a minute surge of chakra form around Sasuke's hand as he caught a tiny object Sakura threw at him. Sakura did the same thing when Sasuke threw the object, a Senbon, at her. But when Naruto came into their line of sight, they stopped exercising. Naruto frowned at that, but he knew he couldn't blame them. He didn't make an effort in trying to make himself a part of his teammates' lives, so as long as whatever they did didn't hamper their teamwork, he didn't worry about it at all. Sasuke, thanks for helping me with my exercise, Naruto heard Sakura say. No problem, Sasuke replied. He glanced at Naruto for a moment. Do you want to do some more training somewhere else, Sasuke? Sakura asked. Sasuke turned to Sakura and raised an eyebrow. I mean, while we wait for Kakashi-sensei, she hastily added. Sasuke shrugged. Sure, but once Kakashi comes back, our training's over. She looked at Naruto. Naruto, when Kakashi-sensei comes, can you call us? Naruto waved them off and watched his teammates leave to do whatever they did. This wasn't the first time that his teammates trained alone, and it wasn't the first time that they excluded him, indirectly or otherwise. Naruto knew that they wouldn't give him the time of day if he tried to be friends with them, no matter how hard he tried. But sometimes, he wondered what could have been. What could have happened if he approached the problem from a different angle or tried toning down his enthusiasm? He began to perform his self-made chakra control exercise, currently using 5 leaves. While he was busy with the exercise, his mind wandered to Kurenai. For the past 2 weeks, Kurenai had tried to be as close to him as possible. Whenever they trained together, Kurenai insisted on helping him stretch. The way she helped him had changed. Her touch lingered for longer periods of time as she ran her hands along his body, touching sensitive parts that made his blood race and spine shiver. Her sparring tactics had shifted as well. She pressed her body to his as often as she could, making him conjure up wild fantasies that distracted him enough to ensure her victory. Naruto wondered if she did it just to gain an advantage during their spars, or if it was just his imagination. It was definitely haunting him, and on more than one occasion, he wondered if Kurenai was interested in him. He shook his head at the possibility that a beautiful, intelligent, mature adult like Kurenai would be interested in someone like him and focused fully on his exercise. After an indeterminate amount of time, Naruto raised his voice. Hey guys, Kakashi-sensei's coming. Sasuke and Sakura stopped their exercise, juggling kunai between each other while standing on the nearby river, and made their way back to the bridge. As soon as they did, Kakashi appeared next to his students. "Morning, everybody," Kakashi said. "I've got some good news for you." "What is it?" Sakura asked. "I've nominated you three for the Chunin selection exams. I think that you three are more than ready. Not only did you survive and complete an S-rank mission, you've improved enough that you can handle almost anything the exams throw at you." Kakashi handed them each a form. "Fill these out and go to room 301 in the academy before 3 p.m. tomorrow if you want to participate. If you're not feeling up to it, don't worry. Most shinobi don't enter the exam on their first try. Training's cancelled today, so you'll get time to make your decision." He left as quickly as he came in. "Looks like things just got interesting," Sasuke said. His eyes were shimmering with excitement. "What do you think, Sakura?" "Yeah, interesting," Sakura said. Her hand was shaking. "I'll see you guys tomorrow." Sakura practically bolted from the vicinity. Sasuke gave Naruto a brief nod and left just as quickly. Naruto shrugged. He knew that he was going to enter the exam and show everyone how dangerous genjutsu could be. For the past few hours, Naruto had been hard at work in his training ground, busy refining his techniques. After completing a kata, he focused on feeling the world around him with his sensor ability. His normal range was 70 meters, but if he really focused, he could push his sensor beyond its normal limit. While he was doing that, Naruto began to think about what he did after he and his teammates went their separate ways. 2 hours after he had begun to train, Naruto encountered an odd shinobi clad in a bamboo hat and a hidden rain forehead protector, who tried to convince him to not participate in the Chunin exams. When Naruto refused, the shinobi fought him. Fortunately, Naruto had managed to defeat him with a combination of genjutsu and taijutsu. He even remembered the conversation they had afterwards. "You're better than I thought," the shinobi had said. "Yeah, well, nobody's gonna keep me from becoming a Chunin, and I'll prove that genjutsu is just as good as ninjutsu and taijutsu." "Believe it." The shinobi chuckled. "I should have expected as much from the Blade of Illusion." Naruto flinched at that. The fact that he was in a bingo book hadn't entirely sunk in. "Looks like you're ready for the exam." After the shinobi disappeared, Naruto had taken a break from training and ate a pleasant lunch at the Nara household. Shikamaru had told Naruto that the exams would be a drag, but his parents disagreed, and wished Naruto well when he told them he was going to participate. He had returned to his training ground afterwards and continued to train. He wasn't going to let anyone keep him from taking the exams. "Damn it, she's still not here." Naruto frowned. There had to be something keeping Kurenai from training with him, since she was almost never late. Maybe she was busy with her team or something. His worry resolved, Naruto continued to train, refining his taijutsu and working on his hand seal speed. After another hour passed, Naruto stopped training. "I'll just go and visit her." One relaxing, hot shower under the waterfall later, Naruto left his training ground and walked towards Kurenai's apartment. He was close enough to feel Kurenai's bright chakra wash over him. Even though her chakra was refreshingly familiar, he still wasn't 100% sure that Kurenai was alright. He stepped up his pace and eventually made it to the entrance of the apartment complex Kurenai called home. Suddenly, he felt Kurenai's chakra pulsate, which sent a variety of negative emotions into him and drove his sensor haywire. "Kurenai." Naruto raced to his sensei's apartment, focusing entirely on her chakra. In an amount of time that barely lasts seconds yet felt like forever, he arrived at Kurenai's apartment. He had half a mind to break down Kurenai's door, but he kept himself from doing so, not wanting to do anything to worsen Kurenai's mood. He knocked on the door and waited. He didn't use his sensor to see what Kurenai was doing. Not only was it an invasion of a fellow ninja's privacy, Kurenai had opened the door before he could try. "Naruto, what are you doing here?" Naruto forced a smile to hide his shock after hearing Kurenai's hoarse voice. Her hair was in disarray, fresh tear marks lined her face and her cheeks were so pink. She was dressed in a bathrobe that just barely went to the middle of her bare thighs and exposed her chest. "Naruto," Kurenai snapped, shocking Naruto out of his trance. When he made eye contact with Kurenai, his heart froze for a moment too long. Her previously shining, captivating red eyes were dim, broken and bloodshot. "What do you want?" she asked in a softer tone. "You missed our training today." "Oh, I did. Must have lost track of time. Sorry. Well, that's all right. Naruto said, even though he knew it wasn't. An awkward silence fell over the two. Naruto continued to stare at Kurenai, which made her pull her robe taut. She winced. Naruto looked at Kurenai's hand and felt his breath hitch. Blood was dripping from a gash on her palm, staining her robe. What's wrong? Naruto asked. What happened to your hand? Nothing. Kurenai said. It's nothing. Well, okay then. I'll see you later, Kurenai-sensei. Naruto frowned. He wanted desperately to help her, but if Kurenai didn't want his help, then trying to force her would only make things worse. Naruto, wait. He looked up at Kurenai, saw her clench her uninjured hand. Come inside. I'll make us some tea. Wouldn't that be nice? Naruto nodded once and followed Kurenai inside her apartment. Kurenai slammed the door behind her and placed her uninjured hand on the door frame, activating a silencing seal. Naruto took off his sandals and walked into Kurenai's living room. He stepped around the shards of a broken glass bottle and over a puddle of liquid with a distinctive scent before sitting on the sofa, while Kurenai walked to the kitchen soundlessly. Naruto glanced at the bottles placed on the table before focusing on the kitchen. He wanted to help Kurenai in any way he could. She had been there for him so many times before, and even though he had only known her for a short period of time, she had become one of his very best friends. In all honesty, Naruto was shocked that Kurenai was. He heard dishes break, and he was by Kurenai's side in moments, holding her hand. There were many things that Naruto wasn't good at. He got angry easily, he was stubborn and he could be impatient, but he knew how badly it hurt to feel this kind of emotional pain. And he knew what he had to do in order to make Kurenai feel better. Come on, Kurenai, Naruto said, helping her stand up and guiding her to her sofa. He gazed at Kurenai. Please, tell me what's wrong. You've done so much for me, so please let me help you. Naruto kept smiling, even when he felt his heart begin to break as Kurenai stared at him. Tears began to gather at the edges of her eyes and she tried to blink them away, but Naruto waited patiently for Kurenai to respond. Then Kurenai wrapped her arms around him and began to weep into his chest. Her grip was awfully strong, stunning him. It took him a while to return Kurenai's embrace, but when he put his arms around her shaking shoulders, he tried his best to comfort her, rubbing her back and whispering reassuring comments into her ear, ones that he knew helped him when he was in pain. Naruto continued to reassure her and comfort her for a long period of time. As he did, he couldn't help but notice her scent, which was a combination of her usual flowery scent and the scent of that liquid that dripped from the table onto the floor. Eventually, Kurenai's sobbing subsided and she shifted, letting go of Naruto. Naruto felt his chest soaked with tears, but that didn't matter. Are you feeling better now? Yeah, sort of, Kurenai said. Can you tell me what happened? Someone very close to me was killed on a mission to the Land of Water, Kurenai said. Naruto caught her haunted eyes and shivered slightly. He shook away the thought revolving his last interaction with a shinobi from the Land of Water, since it wasn't that important. Can you explain, please? I don't understand. Kurenai remained silent and he began to worry that he said something wrong. This wasn't his business. This was supposed to be a routine mission, she began. I thought that he would have been able to handle this and come home safely, but now. It's just another reminder that this life of ours is so unpredictable. You can't expect things to happen the way you want them to, and you can't afford to relax until you're far away from danger. Naruto winced, but while he didn't entirely understand what Kurenai was going through, he had to say something. All I know is that if you die on the battlefield, you'll probably die honorably. But while we live, we have to live the best lives we can. It didn't sound right to him, but he hoped it sounded okay. Kurenai wiped at her eyes. That's all we can do, in times like these. Are you sure you're going to be okay? He asked. I will be, Kurenai said with a small but strained smile. Thank you, Naruto. Naruto beamed. It's my pleasure. I'll always help you, you just need to ask. Some of the color came back to her face, as if his words had freshened her up. Naruto caught sight of the time and grimaced. I hate to leave, but it's really late. Before he could stand up, Kurenai grabbed his wrist. Please, stay. I have a spare bedroom you can use. Naruto faltered. Are you sure? Kurenai nodded, and Naruto couldn't refuse after seeing the desperate look in her eyes. Okay then. But the Chunin exams start tomorrow, so I have to sleep. Kurenai gave him a smile that felt more like a smirk. That's all right. Good night, Naruto. Once he helped her up, she walked to her room. Naruto watched her hips sway from side to side and blinked before going to the spare bedroom. The walls were bare and lifeless, but it had everything an ordinary bedroom needed. Putting his clothes on the dresser, he climbed into the bed and fell asleep. Kurenai, what's wrong? Naruto asked. She was standing at the door, for what reasons he didn't know. I can't sleep, Kurenai replied, shifting from foot to foot. Do you need anything? He was barely awake and felt like going back to sleep. After a while, he rolled onto his back. Well, I'm here if you need me, alright. He soon felt the bed shift. He flushed, immediately realizing that Kurenai joined him in the bed. After a while, Naruto felt Kurenai settle, and he drifted back to sleep. All of a sudden, Naruto felt Kurenai wrap around the right side of his body, contorting her limbs in such a way that she could make as much skin-to-skin contact as possible. What are you doing? Naruto asked as he became uncomfortably aware that Kurenai was only clad in her underwear. Just wanted us to be more comfortable. She pressed her breasts on his back and wrapped her legs around his own. Even after all of that, it felt like Kurenai wasn't comfortable enough. She adjusted their position so that her breasts pressed against his chest and her head nuzzled his shoulder, while their legs remained tangled together. When Naruto felt Kurenai's breathing even out, he felt his blush fade. He was glad he could help her sleep. When Naruto woke up the next morning, he felt a distinct lack of heat. The sheets weren't ruffled and the area where he thought Kurenai had fallen asleep in was cold. With a sigh, he got out of bed and put on his clothes, before walking to the living room. Idly noticing the time, his eyes widened as he learned how little time he had left. Hello, Naruto, Kurenai said, sipping her tea. The table and surrounding area was clean, and Kurenai looked the same as always. Hey, he said, did you sleep well? Kurenai nodded. Quite well. Once I hit my bed, I instantly fell asleep. Oh, for some reason, his stomach sunk when he heard that. It was only a dream. Something the matter? No, it's nothing, Naruto said. He sat next to Kurenai, helping himself to the tea and food set out for him. Thanks for the lunch. Kurenai smiled in response, and continued to sip her tea. Naruto smiled and began to dig into his lunch, enjoying the comfortable silence that fell over the two of them. After cleaning his dishes, he returned to the living room and happily stared at Kurenai's shining red eyes. She noticed and patted down next to her with her bandaged hand. Once he did, she smiled. I want to discuss something with you, regarding the Chunin exams. You are taking them, right? Naruto nodded. He blushed when Kurenai put her hand over his. Good, good. You know that deception is a key tool for a ninja, especially for a genjutsu specialist, right? Naruto nodded again. I think that you should try to deceive your competition. Try acting like you did before you met me to throw off your competition. I don't know if I could, Naruto said. I met a hidden rain shinobi yesterday and he recognized me immediately. And when we were in the land of waves, the shinobi we fought recognized Kakashi-sensei immediately. Kurenai pouted in a way Naruto thought was really cute. Really? What I'm saying is that I'll only be tricking my own comrades if I do what you ask. Whatever enemies I have are more likely to recognize me instantly, and they might not be thrown off if I act all goofy and stuff. Naruto paused, realizing exactly what he said. But that doesn't mean that your advice sucks or anything. Kurenai chuckled. It was melodic and put a smile on Naruto's face. Don't worry about it, but still, try to be discreet, alright? Naruto nodded. I have to go home and get ready for the exams. Are you going to be alright, Kurenai-sensei? Kurenai smiled and stood up, leading him to the door. I will be. Thanks for your concern. After Naruto put on his shoes, he walked to the entrance and faced Kurenai. Really, I'll be alright. Thank you for what you did, Naruto. She leaned in and pressed her lips to Naruto's cheek. The shock he felt at first gave way to a warm, tingly sensation that blossomed across his entire face. Good luck, she added with a wink, before closing the door. Naruto stood there for a moment, and felt his cheek absent-mindedly. His face was burning, and while all he wanted at that moment was to spend more time with Kurenai, he had an exam to prepare for. Later on, a fully prepared Naruto made it to the entrance to the academy. He saw Sasuke and Sakura standing to the side. Sasuke would participate no matter what, but he thought that Sakura would be at the very least indecisive. But she looked just as eager as Sasuke. "You guys ready?" Naruto asked as he approached them. Sasuke smirked, and Sakura smiled. That answered his question, letting them enter the academy. "You looked like you weren't sure about entering," Naruto said to Sakura. Sakura clicked her tongue. "Maybe I was, but I can't be indecisive if I want to pursue and achieve my goals." Naruto nodded. While he was surprised at Sakura's bout of determination, he wasn't entirely convinced that she had what it took. After Team 7 made it to the second floor, Naruto noticed the sign that was supposed to read 201, instead read 301. Naruto scoffed. "What a weak genjutsu. Watch out, there's a genjutsu on the door sign," Naruto whispered to his teammates. "You noticed. Pretty sharp," Sasuke said. "But you are a genjutsu guy, aren't you?" "How did you know?" Naruto asked, having not told his teammates about his skill in genjutsu. "Back at the Land of Waves, you used genjutsu against that Terumi woman. I recorded the technique you used with my Sharingan." "You mean you stole it?" Naruto said. I don't need to steal genjutsu, and even if I did, the Sharingan is mine to use how I want, so don't get mad if I use it." Naruto bit back his remark. Fine. There was no point in arguing so close to the exam. Team 7 walked to the stairs, but before they could make it to the next floor, they were stopped. "Hey, wait up." The voice belonged to a brown-haired girl in a pink sleeveless shirt, wearing the hidden leaf forehead protector on her head. "What do you want?" Sasuke asked. "You didn't even try to enter room 301. The girl asked. Something about her was familiar. "It's not room 301, Sakura replied. "It's just a genjutsu layered over the sign." She smiled. "I had a feeling it was like that. Anyway, I'm Tenten. It's nice to meet you." Right. He knew he recognized her. "I'm Sakura and these are my teammates Sasuke and Naruto. I saw you before, at the Dragon's Claw," Naruto said. "Takeshi's pretty fond of you." She grinned. "Yeah, Takeshi has the best specials and weapons, so for someone like me, his shop is perfect. Anyways, good luck for the exam. And Naruto, I hope I'll see you do well, since I want to see if Takeshi was right about you." "What do you mean?" Naruto asked. "He's fond of you as well," Tenten said before leaving. Sasuke shrugged and walked up the stairs, Sakura following close behind. Naruto watched Tenten go back to her teammates, a black-haired boy clad in a green jumpsuit and a boy with long, brown hair and distinctive white eyes. Before he left, he watched Tenten stop the brown-haired Hyuga from attacking a ninja wearing the hidden cloud forehead protector, and watched the green-clad boy support the Hyuga while defending him from the cloud ninja. Eventually, the Hyuga walked away from the cloud ninja, his teammates next to him. Hidden cloud, Naruto thought, before heading up the stairs. Instead of thinking about the hidden cloud ninja, he thought about the way Tenten's team interacted with each other. He felt that they had a real bond, one that he didn't have with his teammates. To be honest, he knew that it didn't really matter in the end. If he could successfully complete the exams and become a Chunin, he would probably have better teammates. For now, though, he would just put up with Sasuke and Sakura. When he joined up with his teammates at the entrance room 301, he saw Kakashi. "Oh, Naruto, glad you could join us. Now that you're all here, you can take the exams." "What do you mean?" Sasuke asked. "This is an exam that requires ninja to be placed in teams of 3. If Naruto didn't come, then you two wouldn't have been able to enter." "Then why did you lie?" Sakura asked. "I didn't want anyone to force you to join. It's best to do things because you want to, not because you're forced to. Good luck and do me proud. I believe in you." After the smoke cleared and Kakashi disappeared, Team 7 felt their resolve to do well in the Chunin exams strengthen. They opened the doors, ready to begin a new chapter in their careers as ninja of the village hidden in the leaves. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment and subscribe, as well as checking out the author on fanfiction.net.